These celebrations are more than 15 months in the making, as a ceasefire takes hold and the first hostages are released. In Gaza, a countdown to the start of the ceasefire unleashes the kind of joy that speaks to all they have endured, and the hope that this could mark the end of the war. In Israel, tears of joy as a wave of relief crashes over the families of 3 newly released hostages. After 471 days of captivity, Emily Damari, Romy Gonen, and Doron Steinbrecher finally back in the arms of their loved ones. Romy is back alive. Her family cheers as the first images surface. In Israel, the entire country is celebrating their return. Amid crowds of people swarming their vehicles and masked Hamas militants, this is the moment those hostages emerge from captivity. One by one, as seen in this Hamas video, they rush into waiting Red Cross vehicles that will whisk them to freedom. After crossing into Israel, where they are greeted by the Israeli military, Doron, Romy, and Emily embrace their mothers for the first time after months of agonizing uncertainty.
The sound you hear behind me is the engine of a military helicopter whirring, preparing to take off with these 3 newly freed hostages aboard.
As the helicopters take flight, their journey to recovery is only just beginning. A long road also lies ahead for the people of Gaza. Hours into the ceasefire, some of the first displaced Palestinians setting foot in what remains of northern Gaza. This is what many are returning to, block after block, devastated by 15 months of unrelenting bombardment. The destruction speaks to a deeper tragedy here, where more than 46,000 people have been killed, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. In southern Gaza, people also return to homes battered by war after the Israeli military withdrew from Rafah.
زي إننا جايين على البلد جديد، ملناش ولا حاجة. بضاعتنا راحت، محلاتنا راحت، دورنا راحت، حياتنا راحت. ما ضل إلنا أي شيء.
But amid it all, hope finally now pierces the air.
هذه اللحظة يعني بنستناها لنا أكثر من سنة ونص.
Conditions now expected to improve in Gaza as hundreds of trucks loaded with clean water, food, and hygiene kits begin entering Gaza. Up to 600 trucks of aid per day are expected to flood the strip over the next 6 weeks, following months of shortages. But for now, a moment to celebrate. After 15 months of destruction, just standing here alive during these difficult times is indescribable, this man says. Praise be to God. We are the happiest people in the world today. At long last, hope for the future. Jeremy Diamond, CNN, near the Israel-Gaza border.
ايش بتقول اليوم بعد؟
هذول أصحابي.
بالراحة بالراحة حبايبي يا شباب بالراحة.
الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر.
This is the first drone footage CNN has taken in Gaza since November 5th, 2023. It was filmed for CNN on the first day of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas after 15 months of war. In a recent report, the United Nations estimates that 60% of buildings in Gaza have been either damaged or destroyed by Israeli airstrikes and military operations, which has displaced about 90% of the population.
Walk us through the significance of this moment and the challenges ahead.
Well, the first significance of this moment is that it's happening at all. As you heard from Jeremy's report, the last prisoner release we saw was 14 months ago. And we thought at that time that they would be fairly regular and that, we'd be on a path to a ceasefire. It didn't happen that way, and tens of thousands have died since. So the very fact that we're not seeing the Israelis continue to bomb there and that we are beginning to see some releases from Hamas is a good sign. The delay today may well tell you that we're in for more hitches along the way. And then the big question comes, once you get through these 42 days, can the Trump administration, new to this, but having worked alongside the Biden administration in getting the release, are they ready to pick up and get to the phase 2, which is a lot more complex, and they don't have very much time to go work out the details. When you read the agreement, it's a little vague about how you get from here to there.
Yeah, I mean, the phase 2 is incredibly complicated.
Phase 2 is a lot of the tough stuff, much of the tough stuff has been left for phase 2. The Israelis want to stay in the Philadelphia corridor between Gaza and Egypt. Hamas says no. Who's going to rule Gaza later? Will Israel agree to let some form of Hamas keep imposing peace on the streets? Reconstruction. Israel, prior to this operation, measured down to the ounce every bit of cement that went into Gaza. You've got $40 billion in reconstruction estimated by the UN that needs to happen. All of these different things are going to be part of the phase 2 and phase 3 discussions, and that's why you have the Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu, already saying, if we don't like what happens after these 42 days, it's back to war.